Alexey Valentinovich, first of all, I'd like to ask you about the sanctions. How bad do they affect our economy? They're aiming in the dearest, such as our oil and financial sector. First of all, the petrochemicals, oil, defense, financial, and banking sectors are the most affected. Their situation is very difficult. Let's say the technology for our oil industry is 100% imported. Other industries are also very reliant on imports. So all these negative consequences can be felt at the same time. We might not feel everything today. We're still drilling for oil, we're still doing recoveries, we're still doing our contracts. However, if we do want to move offshore with our oil, we'll need more technologies, and that is risky for us. And we need to think how to diversify our import flows and how to get technologies from other sources. However, there are some technologies where the US are monopoly, but there are some where they're not, and there are some good technologies that come from Pacific area, and we might reduce tariff rates for some components and for some technology chains that come from those countries and those regions that are friendly to us and that keep cooperating with us in this situation. We have a task to commit a breakthrough in our real sector. Is this a real task? What's in the way? Our economic growth is by far behind from the potential level. From my point of view, our potential growth is about 3%. However, we have only 5 or 10%. So there is a big GDP gap that is about 2.5% that with our forecast needs to be closed by 2017. What do we need for that? First of all, we need to make right investments and attract right investments. But investors are scaredy cats. They are scared of uncertainties and risks. And sanction regime of today that was imposed by our American and European partners that are sending signals to investments, don't go there, don't go there. However, we ourselves also scaring our investors by talking about imposing new taxes, by talking unconsciously about the defined contributions pension systems, by increasing tariffs and rates. All that scares investors, but we need to attract investors. Also, we need to make our own investments. Unfortunately, we do not have a very good budget structure, and every year we have more and more institutional costs such as environment and defense. It doesn't mean that they are bad costs, but they're of course very necessary. They just don't give anything for the economy. However, the costs for the economic development and investment into our future, such as HR, welfare, and HR education, is 3 times behind from what we need. Okay, you mentioned a certain disbalance in our budget, but we also have a difficult international situation, which means that we have to choose between our security and our development. Well, that's up to political leadership to take the decision, and my job is to propose economic reasonings. And I think that in today's situation, when our budget costs will grow by 1 to 3 trillion rubles, out of which 1 trillion will go towards defense and law enforcement and pension systems, and everything else will be only $400 billion, I think it's too much. That's definitely a disbalance. I think Premier Rogozin mentioned that one of the locomotives of our growth will be, for example, a defense sector. Well, that used to be. That used to be back in the 50s and the 60s, and that happened to the US and Europe as well. But the situation has dramatically changed, and today the research is mostly working for the civilian sector. And then there are some double usage technologies, and defense is not leading industry here, it's a following industry. And I don't think that we can break this global trend anyhow. And I think that the research for the civilian sector definitely the future. How dangerous is the oil price fluctuations for us? I know there are forecasts that can be favorable for about $100 per barrel and so on. However, my question is that a lot of people are talking that based on, well, different prerequisites, so that same situation will happen that happened to the USSR. Well, $104 per barrel is our own forecast. However, the overall forecast is 106, but the current price is about 100. We need to be really cautious in our evaluation, our estimates. We need to be prepared for possible oil price dropping. There is one more forecast that says maybe the price will drop to $80 per barrel. Well, is that improbable? No, it's quite probable. I think it's possible. We can't really exclude the situation, and we're developing alternatives, and we need to have some resources and measures that can solve such situations. And the situation, the currency market is very disturbing, at least to some common people and average citizens, because the dollar has grew a lot, and I think euro broke the records. How long will this trend last? Well, I think that in Habakkuk book of life, there is an episode when they were all burned, their house was burned, and they had to walk in the snow with their wife. She asked him, how long do we have to suffer like that? And Habakkuk says, up to our death. So the volatility of the ruble is something we'll have to live with forever. Bank of Russia has chosen this strategy, which I think correct strategy, of fluctuating national currency course. So all these ups and downs that are difficult to forecast is our future. That's how it's going to be. Ruble today is oversold, as experts say. That means that it will be then purchased later and it will grow stronger. However, the further trend is maybe towards certain weakening of the ruble, and we think that in the midterm there will be certain weakening of the ruble, but not dramatic one. No, not the dramatic one. And then if we're talking about our behavior, what we're going to do about the situation, I will keep saying, just don't do anything. We'll never be able to win the market. We'll always lose. And I think that making a fuss is something you can do when everything's okay. Then you can create some fuss. However, is when the situation is difficult, like today, for our businesses and for our countries, for our citizens. So we need to be very cold-blooded and calm. Alexey Valentinovich, thank you so much for responding to our questions. Thank you. Good luck to everybody.